Hello, welcome to the first episode of In The Treehouse. I'm Lianne, the Marketing Manager at the National Memorial Arboretum. In The Treehouse is a new series of short videos providing insight into the background workings of our beautiful site. In each episode, we're going to be chatting with various members of our dedicated team. And together, we'll explore how the Arboretum works behind the scenes, consider how we can further develop as the UK's year-round centre of remembrance, and learn more about our exciting programme of events and activities. Today, I'm joined by Andy Ansell, our Head of Estates. Andy leads the team responsible for the Arboretum's built and growing environments. And we're going to be chatting with him about what it takes to maintain the acres of woodland and gardens at the Arboretum, and of course, the hundreds of memorials in our grounds. Thanks for joining us, Andy. Firstly, just how big a job is it to look after the Arboretum?
Well, it's an interesting challenge. My skilled team and volunteers, as you say, look after 150 acres, 25,000, in the order of 25,000 trees, around 400 memorials, and 3 state-of-the-art buildings, one of which is a fully facilitated conference and event centre.
So how long does it take you to cut the grass then? You got a big ride-on mower?
Yeah, we have. We've got 46 pieces of equipment, and we major on electric equipment to try and prevent any damage to the environment. We've got 4 ride-on mowers, and the main frontline mower takes about a week to cut most of the grass, and then the staff then back everything up in about 10 days, cutting the interfaces.
It sounds like there are lots of jobs that need doing. How many people are involved in tackling them?
Well, just concentrating on the grounds teams that we've been talking about. We've got a team of 8 permanent staff led by our grounds and landscape manager, Paul. He's got 2 team leaders, each which lead a team of grounds maintenance guys, and one that leads a team of gardeners. And then we have 40 volunteers. They range from doing a couple of days a week to just attending one working weekend in a month. Varying, a huge range of skills and participants in that programme.
So earlier you said you've got approximately 25,000 trees. How do you keep track of them all?
Well, we have a regular tree inspection. So we're quite an immature arboretum as arboretums go. So only established for 20 years. So that brings the challenges of managing sort of a mixture of some large specimen trees with smaller woodland areas. So what we do is we've got a program of inspections for the larger trees, which are fairly regular, and then we've got a less frequent inspection scheme for the woodland areas. But then we've got a team of dedicated tree and mapping volunteers who go around and inspect effectively each tree every year to make sure it's still there, it's not been thinned out, because we obviously, being an immature arboretum, we do need to create space in the woodlands, so we do lose a number of trees each year, so we don't grow in size, we sort of contract. The trees grow in size, but then the number of them contract.
So many of our followers will know that lots of the trees planted around the Arboretum have been placed there for their symbolism. Is this diversity in trees important?
Yeah, it's incredibly important. As I was saying just a second ago, the Arboretum was founded on native trees. So one of the key things we're really proud of is we've got a specimen of all of the native trees to the UK, including an elm. We worked with Hilliers to plant some disease-resistant elms last year. So we've now got, as I said, all of the native species on site. But we're particularly keen to increase our arboricultural interest. So as we get space in and some of the more common native trees are thinned out, we are trying to replace those with trees of more, winter colour or autumn colour or spring flowers to increase the interest in the Arboretum.
And in terms of wildlife, we see lots of different creatures at the Arboretum all through the year. Does wildlife create any particular challenges for you and your team?
Yeah, it does. We're incredibly proud that we absolutely promote attraction of the biggest diverse amount of wildlife that we can, but that does bring its own challenges. Only at the weekend, said badger was digging up some of the newly planted collection, so we have to just live with that. We want to attract the wildlife, so we live with those challenges. We have to manage that on a daily basis and replant things, and we're much more keen to have the wildlife than than we are to worry about dealing with the challenges. We had a family of foxes last year with 5 cubs, which was really nice on site, but of course they do leave a mess, which is a challenge for the guys to keep on top of.
So in terms of kind of waste, you must have mountains of grass clippings. What do you do with kind of the waste that we have on site? What happens to all of that?
Yeah, well, interestingly, we don't have mountains of grass cuttings. We're incredibly proud of the way we innovate to produce as little waste as absolutely possible, and everything we do produce is non-inert, so can be recycled. There's a very, very small amount of inert waste produced that we can't recycle, which we try and do innovative things with rather than take to landfill. And even on the building side, all of our waste goes to either recycling or incineration. So we're very proud not to put anything into landfill. What we do is we don't actually collect any grass cuttings on the main weekly grass cutting, and the cuttings we mulch them. And the cuttings we do collect on the smaller plots where we hand mow with a collect, we then compost those with the leaves that we collect in the winter that we need to collect or kill the grass, and then we compost those down, and all that then is used as mulch on rose beds, flower beds, around tree areas, or we mix it with soil to make planting compost.
Excellent. So my next question is, lots of people may know that the Arboretum is built on a restored quarry. Does this impact on your approach to kind of how grounds maintenance in any way?
Well, it does, but not majorly. The general environment's probably the biggest challenge. I mean, most people will know that we're located at the confluence of the River Trent and the River Tame. That causes some challenges in terms of flooding, but obviously naturally that sort of area produces gravel, which is what was extracted from the quarries in the beginning. One of the biggest challenges we do face is obviously the gravel's been quarried, then the ground has been backfilled before it was gifted to us. So the biggest challenge we do face is when we come to plant a tree, we don't exactly know what's going to be, the ground's going to be like. It could be pure sand, stone, clay. So what we have to do is we have to dig a tree pit, understand what we're planting into, and then I mentioned the recycling of the leaves and the grass cuttings earlier on. So what we do is we remove some of the soil from the pit. We'll take some of that away and we'll use it on landscaping projects, and then we'll mix in the mulch with it to create a nice humus-rich planting pit for the tree. So that's probably the biggest challenge, and obviously dealing with our regular bout of flooding, which is also brought about by the way the land sits, because it's in this belt of mineral extraction.
So you are also responsible for the memorials, and your team is responsible for the memorials and maintaining them. I imagine these have different maintenance needs based on their designs and their materials.
They do, and there's too many materials really to talk about today. But I wouldn't hazard a guess at how many different types of stones, steel, bronze we have on site. But yeah, the maintenance ranges from waxing a bronze annually or twice a year, through to hand washing granite or Portland stone, and we have to each memorial that we look after on behalf of its owner has a maintenance schedule, and many have a completely different maintenance schedule to the other. So that the maintenance ranges from just cleaning it once a year and washing it, to repainting lettering that's been gilted or as I say, waxing the bronze. Some bronzes are, even two memorials stood next to each other that look relatively the same, can have a completely different maintenance regime. Some bronzes aren't waxed at all. They're left to patinate in, get a natural patina. So they're left to the elements, and that creates a different colour on the bronze. And then the one next to it might have exactly the same material, but because of the symbolism of that memorial, it might be highly polished or and waxed once a year. So there is a huge variety of ways that we manage all the memorials on site.
So aside from all the work that you complete on a day-to-day basis, kind of maintaining the grounds, are there any specific projects that you're working on at the moment that you can share with us?
Yeah, so we've just recently completed a really big drainage project to the southeast of the site, which was our wettest area of the site, and we've put in over 1,000 metres of drainage pipe backfilled, so you can't really see what's gone on now, but it allows the site to drain in about a day, as opposed to what took a week to dry out before people could walk on it. So that's a really interesting project we've done. We focused this year particularly, I mentioned the arboricultural interest in the site. So we've been focusing this year particularly on creating a collection of plants called hamamelis, which is the common name is witch hazel. So there's 130-ish varieties in total around the world, which we now have 60 on. So we have a collection on site now, and our aim is to, over the next few years, create a national collection, which our visitors will be able to come and see and view each one of these particularly interesting winter flowering plants.
So my final question for you is, which is your favourite memorial and why?
Well, with 400 memorials, it's really difficult to choose a favourite memorial. So I think probably I am very keen on any of the memorials that are glass and use the environment to refract light. So particularly the Naval Services Memorial, the new Queen's Lancashire Regiment Memorial, which is a flag where the sun shines through the glass, and the Military Medalists Memorial. They're all really interesting memorials, and I think they're nice, innovative memorials that really make you think about their symbolism. But then I have a particular memorial that means something to me, and that's the Royal Army Veterinary Corps Memorial. So I was based or worked at the Defence Animal Centre for 2 years, where most of the military dogs and horses have either been through, they've been looked after, and the handlers have been trained there, or the animals have been trained there. So I knew a few guys and lasses that trained and looked after the animals over there, and had quite a connection. And I've also got 3 working dogs on my own. So probably the one that means the most to me is the Royal Army Veterinary Corps Memorial, which is down by the river on the woodland path.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Andy. So that's all my questions for today. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to all the team who work year-round to ensure that our grounds are looking really, really beautiful. I'm sure you'll agree it's been very interesting to learn more about what it takes to maintain and care for the landscape. I know I've learned lots today. We hope you've enjoyed watching this episode of In The Treehouse, and over the next few months we're hoping we'll be joined by lots of other members of the team. If there are any kind of further topics that you'd be interested to learn about, please do let us know in the comments below. I'm Lianne, and thanks for joining me in the Treehouse today.